Hey everybody, welcome to the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel, and today I'm your host Kyle Goethe, and we're going to do a little bit of a free-flowing ramble, I guess, if you will, about Oscars night. I think the 94th Annual Academy Awards was Sunday night. I'm just going to kind of talk about my thoughts on the Oscars. Might run a little long. You can come in and come out as you please, but I just want to get my thoughts out about it, and hopefully you've had some thoughts about it too. It was a wild night. It was a wild and crazy night. I remember saying to my wife, she doesn't really care about the Oscars. She doesn't watch most of the movies that are nominated. I myself watched all 53 films between the shorts, international docs, animated, live action, features, everything. I watched all 53 movies nominated for an Oscar so that I could go in and really give my deep thoughts on it. She doesn't care as much about that kind of stuff. She cares about the fashion at the beginning of the show. She likes the controversy, if you will, and I think she had quite a night for herself with that. But I did promise her that it would be a controversial Oscars, to say the least. Just the things that we thought would be controversial were controversial, but not the big moments that we thought would be the wild ones. So I'm just going to free flow here and just talk about some of the things that I want to discuss with this. Let's start off with this is the first time we've had hosts in a little bit. We had 3 hosts. We had Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall. I'll say this right at the beginning. I don't like Amy Schumer. I shouldn't say that so much. I don't like her comedy. I think she tends to take a lot of low punches, and I think that kind of just bullyish comedy, I'm not a fan. It doesn't work for me very well. Haven't been a big fan of really much that she's done career-wise. People love her, I get it, but it's just not for me. I thought she was better than I expected. There was a couple moments that she really hit some good jokes. I thought Wanda Sykes was great. I thought almost everything she was doing was great. I was disappointed that Regina Hall was essentially kind of demoted to being like a sex addict. That was the shtick. Was the whole night she was just trying to get with all the attractive people. And I just know that she's better than that. Her stuff didn't work very well for me. It felt kind of odd. It felt like an odd angle to play with for her, and she just didn't get to do very much. So let me just say that right, just on the outset. I thought this is the first time we've had more than one host. First time we've had more than one host since 2011. The last time we did that was James Franco and Anne Hathaway, which was not well regarded. It's a great hosting session. I think they did better than I thought, but there was a lot of wasted time and a lot of stuff that dudded. Why was there a monologue for 3 hosts to come out, followed by another monologue with Amy Schumer? Why did we spend so much time? We didn't give out an award until 25, 30 minutes into the show, because we started with the Beyonce song, and then we went to monologue number 1, and then we went to monologue number 2, and then we finally gave out an award 30 minutes into the show. And you're talking about we have to try and get this thing under 3 hours. You're a sixth of the way through and we're giving out the first award, which was the first indicator that maybe this wasn't going to be about the movies anymore. I was disappointed in that. I didn't think most of the jokes worked really all that well. There was one where Wanda Sykes dressed up like King Richard, and then Amy Schumer came in on Spider-Man, and I was like, okay, it's I don't want to say low-hanging fruit, but it was oh, I get it, one of them's the zany one. And it's I don't know, some of the stuff just did not work. That being said, there was one moment later on the night when Amy Schumer mentioned that the vibe was different at the Oscars, and we'll get to that event, don't worry. There was one moment later on when she mentioned that I thought that helped. That saved it. I think this is a case where if there was no Oscars host this year, there was a couple of things that might not be tethered, might not be fixed, if you will, or softened. There was a little bit of subtle nuance in having those Oscar hosts. So I get it. I don't think the 3 of them were needed. Honestly, next year, give me Wanda Sykes. Just give me her by herself. I thought she did a great job. Or next year, bring back Chris Rock. So I'll put that right there. The big winner of the night was Coda. It was the last feature film that I watched from the Oscar pool. It was the third to last movie I watched of the 53. Because I don't have Apple Plus. I waited to get Apple Plus because I wanted the Oscars to kind of be done so I could watch Coda, catch up on Ted Lasso, and then boot the service because I don't plan on keeping it. I just wanted to have it for like a month just to kind of get caught up on the things I was watching, watch the Oscar movies, and then lose it again for a year. I do that a lot. There's people that are like, why do you have 15 streaming services? Oh, there's too much stuff. And it's like, no, I just get like one at a time. Catch up on the things I want to catch up on and move it to a different one so I can get a little bit of everything. Coda did win, and it is the first primarily deaf cast in an Oscar-winning Best Picture, the first streaming service to have a Best Picture. Apple TV Plus has their first Best Picture win, and it is also the first film that premiered at Sundance to win Best Picture, which seems crazy to me that a Sundance movie with premiere has never won Best Picture. I'm in shock about that when I heard that. But let me just say this on the outset. Coda was not my favorite movie of the year or my favorite of the Best Picture nominees, but I think it's a great movie, and I can see why it won. I'm not upset that it won at all. It's better than some of the other nominees that were there. It's not as good as a few others that I really liked, but I'm comfortable and confident saying I am okay with Coda winning Best Picture because, again, not my vote. It's a lot of people's votes. And this movie I can see being a uniting film, and it's a very good movie. It's a very, very good movie. Here's my hope is that Apple TV decides to drop a home video release for this. I don't think they've released anything on home video. So that concerns me because, again, as a fan of Ted Lasso, I'm not keeping Apple TV Plus, but if you put that first season out, I'll go pick it up right now. I'm a fighter for getting physical media on this stuff, so I'm hoping Coda is able to get a deal with either Janus Films through Criterion or Arrow or Kino Lorber. Somebody like is able to get a hold of a copy of this movie and get it on home video for physical media fans like myself. I would go pick it up. As it stands, it's probably going to be the first Best Picture that won't be available on home video. So it may not get a lot of views, or to the extent that it will. I hope that it's still memorable and in the conversation as we go forward. Let's see here. Dune. Dune won 6 awards. It won a bunch of technicals. I had a feeling it would win a lot of the technicals and just kind of get skirted out. I thought there was a chance for Best Picture. I did think there was a minor chance for Best Picture, but I think this is a case like Lord of the Rings. I think if Dune Part 2 comes out, finishes the story strong, that will be a Best Picture winner. Because it will be like a grouping of the two movies it will win. 6 awards winners, though. I skirted a lot of them. I think overall, out of the 23 wins, I got the animated feature wrong, and on my predictions, and I think I got Best Actress wrong, and I got production design wrong. I think I had placed that as going to go to Nightmare Alley. So I missed a couple of awards, but I did pretty well for myself. Dune won 6 Oscars. It's well deserving of it. It got that Mad Max Fury Road attention, which feels like a fair comparison. Both technically sound, technically strong movies that were the favorites of many people, but just weren't going to cross the finish line of Best Picture, and that's okay. That's awesome. I'm glad it got more awards than any other film it did. It was my second favorite of the Best Picture nominees, so I'm more than happy to see it win some stuff. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the slap. Wow. So like I said, I told my wife this would be a shocking Oscars. I didn't realize this was going to happen. So let's talk about the event itself. Chris Rock, a polarizing comedian, one who's not afraid to say inappropriate things, offensive things, came out. He riffed a little bit. We definitely know he riffed. He called out Jada Pinkett Smith. Well, first of all, he called out that he did that classic Chris Rock joke of "Aren't wives the worst," where he called out Penelope Cruz and Javier Bardem out front and just said, if she doesn't win tonight, you can't win either, because you can't be the guy who wins the award when she loses. I thought it was funny. A lot of people thought it was like a bit of again, low-hanging fruit. I thought it was funny enough. But again, I'm not an offended person in that way. I don't really get bothered by offensive material. And he's completely within his realm as a comedian to say it. Then he moved on to Jada Pinkett Smith, and he mentioned that he was excited to see her in G.I. Jane 2, which, let's be real, is a very odd joke. Let's just examine the joke as it is for a second. G.I. Jane came out 26 years ago, and he's making a joke about it in 2022. I'm not even sure Ridley Scott remembers making that movie. It's such an old movie to reference. I think he was just kind of off the cuff riffing, doing some crowd work as comedians do. But of course, what he either knew or failed to realize was that Jada Pinkett Smith has alopecia, which is a medical issue that causes lack of hair growth, hair loss. I think it has to do kind of with the body seeing hair as an enemy and trying to get rid of it. I could be wrong about that. That's how I read it. I know a couple people with alopecia that I thought that was kind of the idea. He either didn't realize or he realized and didn't care that that was a low-hanging fruit joke. And again, like going back to the G.I. Jane thing, like just an odd choice of just jokes. And I think he even knew like that was just a weird choice as soon as he said it. But it's like, again, Chris Rock is a man of the 80s and 90s. Maybe he's been holding on to that joke for decades, and we don't know. As you can see, though, he said the joke, he laughed. A lot of the audience laughed, too. So let's be real. A lot of the audience laughed. And you know who else laughed? Will Smith. You can watch, he laughed. As he's laughing, you can see in the background, Jada Pinkett Smith is clearly not having that joke. So Chris Rock keeps moving. He says, oh, that wasn't even a bad one. Like, that wasn't a bad joke or anything. And all of a sudden, there's a moment when I'm watching and he just goes, uh-oh. And I'm like, what's happening? Will Smith is getting on the stage. And I'm going to take this beat by beat because there's a lot to break down. Everybody's had their share. Listen to mine. Will Smith is on the stage heading towards him. Up until now, I'm still fairly convinced this is an act. He hits him. And again, it looks almost like a hit from a movie. Like just that like bop and like the reaction hit. And again, like the sound sounded odd of the connection. Later on, I think it was that someone mentioned to me it was probably his microphone reacting to the hit. But it sounded like a weird hit sound. And I was like, it's an odd bit. I was like, that's a bit, right? Like, but I'm still kind of in shock. Jamie doesn't know what's going on. Our other friend Mark, who's watching with us, doesn't really know what's going on. And then everything starts to go fuzzy because they're editing something. They're doing, I think they usually have like a 3-second delay. They're editing shit really quickly so that we don't have to see what's going on. But we're all kind of putting together in our heads. I would have thought it was a bit if that hadn't happened. And as it does, we get a little bit of a cut here, and we get, I think Chris Rock said, Will Smith just slapped the shit out of me. And then we go back to, we hear something over the audio, and we cut back, and again, I'm not hearing it, but I can read his lips well enough to say, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth. And that's the second time he said it. I think they actually bleeped the first time because we didn't hear it because the camera wasn't on him. And Will Smith said, or Chris Rock said, I got it. And then all of a sudden, there's this realization that like, if it was a bit, Will Smith would not have dropped the F-bombs. And then I realized, and also, no slight against him in terms of his acting ability. If that was a bit, him yelling that was the best performance he's ever given. That was like, he was mad. He was notably mad. And then I started to realize, this is not a bit. There's no way this is a bit. And Chris Rock would never have let himself be jostled in that. And he's giving out the Best Documentary Award. I didn't mention that. And he goes, we're here to give out a documentary, a award to a documentary. And he gives the listing, and Questlove won for Summer of Soul, which I think was the second best documentary of last year to be up for the nomination. It was a great documentary. He won it, came up, and I think he was just unsure what to do. And I think Chris Rock wasn't sure what to do, but Questlove gave a great speech. I would say if you get a chance, go listen to the speech just kind of like outside of that parameter, because he gave a good speech about like how the Harlem Cultural Festival just didn't exist to a lot of people. It disappeared from public consciousness because there was no Woodstock documentary or Monterey Pop documentary. It just disappeared. And so we have this now to go alongside it. It's great speech. But like the whole time and for the rest of the night, we're just kind of on edge, like what is going to happen? And I kept wondering to myself, they're going to kick Will Smith out, right? Like you can't just go up and assault someone on stage. Let's pull back a second. I don't think the joke was funny against Jada Pinkett Smith. I don't think you should call out somebody's physical appearance, especially when it's something that is a medical condition. But I'm going to try and assume, until I know differently, that Chris Rock didn't know she had alopecia. I didn't know she had alopecia. She has always kind of had her hairdo in a lot of movies I've seen. Scream 2, very shortly cut. Her hair in the Matrix movies, her hair, like I just think like I thought it was more of a choice that she had chosen to shave her head. She had chosen not to have hair. I don't know. I'm coming at it from a person who didn't know that. Knowing it, that's kind of a dirtbag joke to make. I'm going to assume that Chris Rock didn't know. He's not close to Jada Pinkett Smith. He's not close to Will Smith. They've had this ongoing tension for years. To the point, like, 2009, Chris Rock made a documentary about black hair. I think it's called Good Hair, if I'm correct. And it's a documentary about how important hair is to the African American experience, the cultural importance of hair. And he has a whole piece in that documentary about alopecia, and he does talk about it with severity, about like how difficult that is for anyone. And so he was aware that alopecia is a thing. He's aware that it's not easy. I don't think he knew or realized how the effect of that joke was going to go. And you can be mad at him for making the joke. He should have, under any normal circumstances, he should apologize for making the joke, because it was low-hanging fruit, attacking someone's physical appearance, attacking someone's medical condition. This doesn't seem like the right thing. That being said, violence is never the answer, ever. And the fact that Will Smith went up there and made a violent choice, there's so many ways he could have handled it. He could have shouted at Chris from where he was at, would have felt normal. Pissed off, that's happened before. People have had outbursts at the Oscars, yes. He could have gone to see Chris at the rap party after the show was done and said, I need an apology from you right now. Like, that was not cool. He could have done it right then. He could have handled it in a much better way. He chose violence. That sucks, because Will Smith he's one of the most famous people in the world, and one of the people that young people are going to look up to, and they see him choosing violence as a way to deal with his problems in the middle of an awards show. And not only that, Dan Merle, from check out his YouTube channel, he made a great point where he said, if you were at your job, which is essentially what going to the Oscars is for an actor, if you were at your job and someone said a mean joke about your wife and you went up and punched them at your work-hosted awards event, you would probably not have a job at the end of the night. You would, you'd be taken out of that awards, and you probably wouldn't get the chance to get your award if you won one. Now, going back a little bit here too, Chris Rock, I think he hosted a talk show back in the 90s. He had Jada Pinkett on when she was with Will Smith early on in their relationship. And I think he gave her a bottle of champagne for not talking about him at all during the interview. Kind of like a little slight, that must have been tough not to talk about Will Smith while you were doing an interview. And I think Chris Rock was even on an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, so they were working together. It seemed like they didn't have a whole lot of beef at that point. Chris Rock also worked on Madagascar with Jada Pinkett Smith. 3 movies. Voice performances, maybe they never met. Usually, though, they meet at the premiere, they meet at something. I don't know the details, but I'm assuming they met, or not met, but at least they had a chance to talk, be friendly, if you will. And in 2016, I think it was 16, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith boycotted the Oscars because of the Oscars So White issue that was going on, which is fair. They boycotted the Oscars. I don't think they should boycott because Will Smith wasn't nominated. I haven't seen Concussion. I know people said he was great in the movie, but it's not about being great. It's about being in the top 5 of that performance category of an entire year. You can give your career best performance in a movie, and if it's still the 6th best performance of the year, it's not going to get up for a nomination. I don't know if he deserved to be up. I haven't seen the movie. I'm just saying that, not everything was about race. Some of the Oscars people, the old white guys that are running the Oscars, before we started adding a lot of new people, probably did tend to skew towards white performances. So I get the frustration. The Oscars So White thing, there was way too many people of color that gave great performances that deserved to be in there. I'm just not convinced that Will Smith gave a best performance in Concussion, because I haven't seen the movie. But their choice to boycott it over that, Will Smith, or Chris Rock, who was up there riffing on it, made a joke about how Jada Pinkett Smith was boycotting the Oscars that she wasn't invited to, and he dug at them for that. And I think that's a fair dig, that she made this whole thing I'm not going, and it's Jada Pinkett, you're not nominated, and you're not making any movies currently to be here. So I get the dig, but again, it's going to riff them a little bit. Making this, I'm sure Will Smith just had enough. Went up there and bopped him. And you know what? It disappoints the hell out of me, because Will Smith is a person that people look up to. He is a person that young people look up to. He made a movie about being a caring father to almost a detriment with King Richard, where he was over caring about his children's future to the point where he caused rifts within his own family about it. And he made him, he's Fresh Prince, he is Bad Boys, he is Independence Day. He's been in so many great movies. He's a cultural touchstone. I think he did a great job as the genie in Aladdin, because he's following up Robin Williams, one of the best comedic actors ever, and he found a way to make it his own when he did that. I thought he was great in the movie. And he disappointed the hell out of me because he chose to be violent. He chose to solve his problems with violence. And you know what else he did? He took that moment and made it about him, and the rest of the night suffered for it. There was a notable change to the dynamic. I know people that were at the awards that had spoken about, like, it was a different show at that point. The bartender at the Academy Awards tweeted out and said no one was getting drinks at that point. That the mood was different. Something was up in the air. And he took away from Questlove's ability to celebrate his win. Questlove may not get an Oscar again. He's not he is a filmmaker in the sense, yes, but he's not getting offers left and right to direct Oscar potential movies. He may not ever get a chance to have this again. And Will Smith made it about himself. When Jessica Chastain won, I didn't hear her actual speech. She had a very heartfelt speech. I wanted to listen. I had to go back and listen to it again later, because he made that moment about himself, and the rest of the night suffered. When people are going to talk about Jane Campion winning, the third female ever to win Best Director, and the second year in a row, it's not about her now because Will Smith made it about him. He made that moment about what he was going to do. When Coda won Best Picture, again, I mentioned, first streaming service to win Best Picture, first Sundance film to win Best Picture, first primarily deaf cast movie to win Best Picture, and Will Smith made it about himself the whole rest of the night. And that's what disappoints me. And you want to know what else disappoints me? That there was no reaction. That Chris Rock made a dumb joke. Granted, absolutely dumb. And if that had been all it was, he would have been seen as being the jerk of the night. Will Smith out-jerked him by choosing violence. And he made it about himself. And the Oscar producers did nothing. They did nothing to stop it. There was a tweet out after the show. The Oscars condemns violence of any kind. Sure. But you let him go up there and speak. You let him go up there and speak. They said, there's another tweet from people that were involved where they said, we didn't know what to do, and we were all sitting in different parts of the auditorium. That auditorium is not big enough where you can't get your crew together in 45 minutes before that award is given out and boot his ass. It's not. There's no reason that he should have been able to go up there and accept that award. If somebody socks someone else, especially if someone said something awful about my wife, I would go talk to them. Yes. Because words should be matched with words. I would go talk to them in a heartbeat. You don't say stuff about people like that. And I would be pissed. I would understand his anger so much. And he chose to make that moment about what he wanted to do about it. And he was a famous person who's probably likely not going to get in trouble for punching a guy, slapping a guy really hard on live television. You do that at your job, you don't have a job anymore. He does it, he gets to go collect a statue. So the producer said they couldn't figure out a plan quickly enough. You had 45 minutes. Will Smith had 20 seconds to decide if he was going to smack Chris Rock. He made his decision in that 20 seconds. And he made that decision, and he should have the consequences with that decision. I think Chris Rock probably made the right call not to press charges. It's a smack in the face. If you're not actively injured from it, probably just don't press charges. Move on. Maybe it's a smart choice to do. But the choice that the Oscar producers made to not boot him for that, when the simplest answer is this: meet up with your crew really quick, I mean, during the commercial break, Bradley Cooper, Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry, they all got a chance to go up to Will Smith and calm him down because he had to be calmed from what happened and tell him to relax. If they made a plan enough to go and deal with that situation, the producers could have met up and said, we send him out the door right now. Jada can choose to go if she wants. She didn't hit a guy, but she's probably going to go. Tell him he's gone now. When the time comes to give out that award, he should not be going up on stage to get it. And instead, you send him out. Do what happened last year. Anthony Hopkins won Best Actor last year in a really weird turn of events kind of sense. He wasn't there to receive the award. Showed a picture of him and said, he's not here to accept tonight. We accept the award on his behalf. When they announce the nominees, you just put a stock photo of Will Smith up. It sends the message, we don't condone violence. And then when he wins, who was it giving out the award? It was Sam Jackson, John Travolta, and Uma Thurman. Tough thing that they have to do, but you tell them, if he wins, you accept the award on his behalf, and you go. Doesn't get to make a speech. Doesn't get to. You gave up that right when you assaulted someone at the Oscars. Just that simple. That's how you fix the issue. I just fixed it for you in less than a couple minutes. Fix the situation. Because afterwards they were like, we don't condone violence. The next day they're like, we don't condone his actions. We're going to look into it. Boot him. Boot him when he does it. Because you did condone violence when you let him continue to go. Let's move on to his speech. He got up there. It was a heartfelt speech. I'll give it to you. But I didn't care. He said, you do crazy things when you're in love. Is that a pass? I'm in love. We all do crazy things when we're in love. Sure. We don't get violent. Not when you're a role model to a lot of young people. We don't get violent. And I just think he went up there, he compared himself to King Richard, which it's been a while since I've watched King Richard. It was in November. There's a part of that movie when Richard is being accosted by kind of a bunch of gang kids kind of stuff, and he gets the crap beaten out of him, but he doesn't throw a punch. That's the difference. He took hits in the movie, didn't throw a punch. Defending his honor, defending his children, didn't throw a punch. Will Smith is no King Richard in that way. And so to compare himself to King Richard and say, I protect people I care about like he did, you're comparing yourself to the person that you supposedly look up to that took this. While that person's real life children are in the audience, and you're saying that you just did what he would have done, basically. That I'm like him. Not cool. And he tried to skirt it. He apologized to the Academy. He apologized to the members that were the nominees that he was with. Didn't apologize to Chris Rock. You punched a guy in the face, slapped a guy in the face. I'm going to keep saying punch because it looked like a punch. You slapped a guy in the face, and he wouldn't apologize immediately for that. They allowed you. And then he said, I hope they let me back next year. I don't. I hope you don't come back to the Oscars. I don't, even though he's since apologized to Chris Rock, sure, over Instagram. I don't know if they spoke publicly. But I hope you don't come back for a while. I don't want you to be back to give out the best actress. And if you're nominated, I hope you're not there to accept the award. I don't think he's going to win again. Will Smith is good at a certain kind of acting. King Richard is probably his best performance of his career. Very deserving win, but I don't hope he doesn't come back anytime soon. I could do without him. Because again, he made the entire night about him then. And that's all people are talking about. That's all people are talking about since it happened. We spent a bunch of time talking about it. And I'm going to try and get off the subject here in a minute. But every win that happened after him, and even a good chunk of the wins that happened before him, were made about him. I think that sucks. And I think that's a sucky thing to do, and I think he knew that. So, yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's see. Yeah, so, all right. So the follow to this, again, I hope we don't see Will Smith at the Oscars anytime soon. I think what he did was sucky and stupid, and he should pay the consequences that come with it. So we're going to move on now. I want to talk about something different, okay? All right, guys, I got a bit of my allergies working up here, so I've been kind of cutting in and out here. But All right, let's move on to some better things that I want to talk about from the Oscars. Troy Kotzer, first male deaf actor to win an award for his performance. I think Marlee Matlin won several years ago, but he's the first male deaf performer to do so. Troy Kotzer won for his supporting role in Coda. It was the best of the 5 performances easily. I thought he was tremendous, and I thought his speech was great. Said talked about his father, talked about the theater groups that allowed him to perform at deaf and own his craft. He is great in Coda. He was the best supporting actor of that group, easily. And I'm so happy he got a chance to win. And you know what? That great moment, Yoo Jung-yoon from Minari, the previous Best Supporting Actress winner, went up there and she made sure to pronounce everyone's name correct, which I thought was really cute. We all get names wrong, and I thought it was really adorable that she cared enough to do that. And I knew he won. I had a feeling he was going to win anyway, but I knew he won when she opened up that envelope and she gave the little love symbol to Troy Kotzer, and then announced him as a winner. And I thought it was adorable that she said she would hold his Oscar so that he could do his speech with his ASL. It was a magical moment, and I think I wish that the previous thing we talked about, that the slap itself had not happened, because that moment would have been one of the most talked about things of the night. That was what the Oscars should have been about. He got to do his whole speech. I don't think he got played off at all. He got to finish his speech. And I thought it was really magical. So, good on you, Troy Kotzer. You deserve the win. It's also the second consecutive year we had a Best Female Director win for Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. Who is it? So, 11 years ago, I think, we had Hurt Locker won for Best Director as well for Catherine Bigelow. Sorry, I was blanking on the last name. Catherine Bigelow won. Last year, Chloe Zhao won. This year, we got our second consecutive and our third overall Best Director win for a female. It should have happened more often at this point. There's a lot of other people that I think have been very deserving over the years who have not gotten a chance. And I think it's just a statement, too, about, women are getting a chance to direct more. And I think that means that they're getting a chance to direct great movies more, bad movies more, in-between movies. Women are getting a chance to be judged the same way, hopefully, as male counterparts down the road. I hope we get to see more female winners, because that will get the female directors more roles as directors, which will increase the diversity of film. And diversity in film is a very good thing. So, good on you, Jane Campion. I'll just say real quick, I really wanted Kenneth Branagh to win. I really wanted Denis Villeneuve to win. As far as Power of the Dog goes, of the 10 nominees, I put it pretty close to the bottom. I didn't dislike the movie. I just liked everything else a lot more. So she wasn't my choice, but it is a fantastically put together production, and a lot of work has to go to what she did. So, you know what? I'm not upset about the win. I just think, while she wasn't my choice, it's great that we're having more votes, more people pushing in, and I think that very deserving of the win, even if I don't think I would have voted for her. Power of the Dog only one award on Sunday night, and that was for Jane Campion as director, which is interesting. That's the first time that's happened since The Graduate, decades ago, where the only award that was won was Director Award and nothing else for a movie. That's pretty crazy. I thought, just quick little aside, I thought that was pretty wild. That doesn't happen very often, where Best Director doesn't get at least a couple other things. I would have expected a Denis Villeneuve win. I know he wasn't nominated, but usually a director will win the same movie that wins a bunch of the other awards, because they clearly had to work within a bunch of other places. And so that's why I think I was more surprised, and why that doesn't happen as often. But again, not slighting her at all for winning. I just think it's interesting. Let's talk a bit about the Honorary Awards. Sam Jackson won an award. Liv Ullmann won an award. Danny Glover won. Lifetime Achievement Awards. I hate that these aren't part of the Oscars itself. I think, we spent time talking about the 60th anniversary of Bond, the 50th anniversary of The Godfather. I enjoyed both of those montage moment, film clip packages, if you will. Why aren't we just doing it with the people winning the Honorary Awards? And just give them that moment instead? Why are we shuffling Sam Jackson's Lifetime Achievement off, or I think the Herschel Humanitarian to Danny Glover. Why didn't we get to see that? There's some good footage of their speeches and their interaction that I thought was really, really good. So look that stuff up. But why are we shuffling those guys off? Let's talk about the musical choices. I think for Best Original Song this year, this was one of the lesser years. One of the worst years in recent time. I don't think the songs are inherently bad, but I don't think there's as many of the absolute boppers as we thought. And I'll even say that as a guy who loves the movie Belfast. I don't know that Down to Joy should have been nominated for Best Song. It's a good song. I don't know that it should have been nominated. So, got the King Richard song with Beyonce, done live, opened the show up. I don't think the song is very good. We got the song Somehow You Do from Four Good Days. It's a pretty good song, but is it an Oscar-winning song? No, I don't think so. We have Dos Oruguitas, hopefully I'm saying it right, from Encanto, which is a good song, but there are better songs from Encanto that should have been nominated. I would have taken We Don't Talk About Bruno over it, but more than anything, I would have taken Surface Pressure. Because I think Surface Pressure embodies a great song all around, but also a great song that fits in the movie better. I think Surface Pressure should have been nominated. Down to Joy is pretty good. It's good. It's one of the better ones, but it's still not. I mean, it's not great. And I think those are the four. And then No Time to Die, which easily the front runner. It's a great Bond song in Bond movie, and I think the reason why I would say give it to that one over the other movies is the rest of those songs played during the credits. And I know that that's maybe a stickler thing to do, but I would rather see Best Original Song go to a song that played over opening credits than ending credits. A song that played in the movie, like a We Don't Talk About Bruno or a Surface Pressure, one that had actual stakes in the movie. Because when I watched all these movies, the Belfast song played during credits. Somehow You Do played during credits at the end. You almost would be hard-pressed to remember there was a song worthy of Best Original Song for those movies. I think, what is it, Be Alive, the Beyonce one from King Richard, played during the credits. Like they have no bearing on the movie. They're just a nice song that played at the end that you paid to get made so you could maybe get an Oscar for it. That's why I think, more than anything else, I think No Time to Die was the best choice easily. But I think it's a case of, like, that has to be the choice because it's the only one that directly, of those 5 nominees, has some bearing on the movie watching experience. I sit through the credits every time I watch a movie, but not many people do. So, all right. And then going on to the other thing, why did we do We Don't Talk About Bruno? I know a lot of people love the song. I thought it was a great song. I don't think it needed to be played at the Oscars because, again, it's so contingent on the movie. It's so much a part of Encanto as a story song that playing it live didn't feel normal to me. Sure, you can do it. I'm okay with it. But it wasn't even nominated for Best Original Song. This was a choice made by ABC, I guarantee it, pushed onto the Oscar committee because ABC, owned by Disney, wanted to sell more Encanto. They wanted to get people to watch it. Watch the Oscars where we play this song that wasn't nominated for Best Song. And it's an odd choice. And the song wasn't even all that well performed. I think my wife liked it, but I was like, why is Megan Thee Stallion doing this rap in the middle about the Oscars while we're doing We Don't Talk About Bruno? I don't understand that at all. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the song being played in the Oscars. All right, time for the Oscars Fan Favorite Awards. We got 2 big fan favorite moments. I think it was a greatest cheer moment, which apparently most voters just thought was movies that came out after The Matrix, because we got The Matrix and then we got some Marvel movies, and that's, I mean, okay, that's fair, I guess, but you got to know that Flash Enters the Speed Zone was done by Snyder Bros. Because I actually really enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League. I was against watching it, and I actually sat through it all the way, and I was really entertained by that movie. I really enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League. Would I have picked it as one of my top 5 cheer moments? Yeah. No disrespect. I'm maybe alone on that, but there are other cheer moments I've had in my life. So again, the fact that these were made a big deal, like we're gonna give out fan favorite awards, even though they didn't actually get Oscars. There are people out there that think that Zack Snyder's Justice League won an Oscar for most cheer-worthy moment. It didn't. It didn't. And I think it's a little It's a little silly. They made a big deal about voting online for your award, and then they shuffled them as like just before we go to commercial, let's run through these real quick and not cheer about them. Made a big deal about it before the fact, and it didn't mean anything after the fact. Same thing with best movie or favorite movie from the Fan Favorite Awards. Went to Army of the Dead, and I'm pretty sure it did that because Zack Snyder's Justice League was ineligible because it was a 2017 film with a new director's cut and not a 2021 film. So it was ineligible to win the Fan Favorite poll. Army of the Dead won. I actually liked Army of the Dead. I enjoyed the heck out of it. For a good several months last year, it was in my top 10 of the year before it kind of cycled out. But I liked Army of the Dead quite a bit, but I'm pretty sure it won because they couldn't vote for Justice League. I don't think this was a good choice. This was a choice the Academy made because they wanted to get somebody to talk about Spider-Man. And Spider-Man was up for, I think, cheer-worthy moment, right? Maybe it was best movie too? I don't remember. But this was stupid. I don't mind the poll thing, actually. But they didn't do anything with it. It was, you'd be hard-pressed to even remember that happened at the Oscars. And it's just a tremendous waste of time. Okay, let's talk about a couple other things. Rachel Ziegler, I'm glad she got to go. If you're the star of a Best Picture nominee and you didn't get to go to the Oscars, you should probably request that on Twitter. I'm glad she got to go. Rachel Ziegler was an absolute surprise in West Side Story. I'm surprised she didn't get nominated for Best Actress. I thought she was wonderful. I loved her in that movie. And I can't wait to see more of her. I'm glad she got to go. Oh, they didn't even, Best Original Song, they didn't even do Down to Joy from Belfast by Van Morrison. Now, granted, he was touring. They couldn't even do it, but it was just odd to me that they did the other four, plus We Don't Talk About Bruno. Instead of doing, do those as a medley at the beginning of the Oscars. They didn't start with the Annette song, May We Start. So do a medley at the beginning of the Oscars, open with the Best Original Songs playing, and then get on with the rest of it. We waste too much time playing Best Original Songs for a song, and for most of the songs that played during credits that people didn't know were in the movie. The In Memoriam segment. Where's Bob Saget? Where's Louis Anderson? Where's Meatloaf? Where's Ed Asner? Norm Macdonald? I liked what they did telling individual stories, but again, In Memoriam, if you're going to do it, do the whole thing, and then they kind of shuffled off, check out the website. We'll have more dead people. That feels really odd to me. So, that's it. Last thing I want to talk about before we run through the actual winners itself. The Oscars are still too long. I'm a person, I don't care if they're 4 hours. I don't care if they're 10 hours. I'll sit there and watch them. I love movies. This is my Super Bowl. This is my World Series for the year, is watching the Oscars. So I don't care. But if you're going to fight for the fact that last year at 9 million viewers, the lowest viewership, and this is now the second lowest, but it's still an uptick, sure. The Oscars are still too long. How are they 3 hours and 45 minutes long? Why do we have 2 monologues? Why are we having all the talking? Why do we get hosts out to introduce people to give awards, to introduce awards? Why are we doing so much of that? Consolidate. When someone comes out to do the shorts, have those 2 people give out all 3 short awards in conjunction. Give the people time to have their win, but then you don't have to call out another 2 people. Just move on to the next short. When you do original music, do original song. When you do visual effects, do cinematography, because they both go hand in hand a little bit. When you do adapted and original screenplay, do them at the same time. Combine the discussion time. We waste too much time talking at the Oscars. How is it possible that we shuffled 8 awards into the pre-show, saved maybe 90 seconds apiece on them, and ended up going to the longest awards since the 2018 winners with Shape of Water winning? How is that possible? Why did we have 2 medleys or 2 montages? Pick one. Either it's going to be Bond or it's going to be Godfather. I really like the montage pieces, but if you're going to pick something, do that. We just need to stop wasting time. Just stop wasting time and give the time to the winners. Troy Kotzer's award speech was great. Questlove, had he not been following up on Assault, would have had a great speech that was lined up. There was a lot of great speeches in that night. And it just felt like we're shuffling up the director of Drive My Car, who's trying to have a moment to celebrate their movie winning. But don't worry, we're going to give out fan favorite awards. It's so dumb. And all the punching down that happened with things like calling out The Last Duel not performing very well, calling out the House of Gucci, like it was like an attack on Ridley Scott the whole night. Calling out the Golden Globes for getting canceled. Like, what is with all the like punching down and hating? The general consensus is that nobody hates nobody hates movies more than the Oscars now. They're like the Star Wars fans of the Oscars. Absolutely ridiculous. I can't even understand it. So, anyway, you can make the Oscars shorter. You're just choosing to focus on the dumb things. Make it better next year, producers. I'll watch your show however long it is, but if you're worried about ratings, they're never going to get back to the 90s level of ratings, the 80s level of ratings. People can stream whatever they want. They don't care about the Oscars as much. Focus on the people like me who will watch regardless. Make me happy, because I am the person that's going to be there for you when no one else will be. So anyway, let's talk about the winners real quick here. I'm just going to go through. I got it on my phone here, so I'm just going to kind of... we talked about Coda already. Good for them. More power to them. I really, my vote would have been for Belfast. Best director, my vote would have gone to probably Steven Spielberg or Kenneth Branagh. And if Denis Villeneuve had been up, I would have been all for that. Best actor, Will Smith. He's being a dirtbag. And I actually thought he was the most deserving of the 5 nominees there. Jessica Chastain won. Oh, I want to mention this. Kristen Stewart didn't win for Spencer, and I think that's a travesty. Now, this is a year when a lot of people were being talked about. The irony is that Olivia Colman, who never gets talked about, was also not talked about as being a potential winner when she surprised everyone and won a few years back. She was the one who kind of just was not talked about as being a potential winner. But Jessica Chastain had a pretty good awards run. People were talking about Penelope Cruz turning out with the upset. Nicole Kim was the early frontrunner. Kristen Stewart was an early frontrunner. I thought her not getting nominated at other awards was going to help booster her. Didn't. And unfortunately, I think she had the best performance of the entire year. So I was really hoping she'd win. Troy Kotzer won for Coda. Again, fantastic. I thought he was the best of the 5. Ariana DeBose won for playing Anita in West Side Story. That's the second time that character has won, by the way. It previously won in the previous adaptation, and I think Ariana DeBose was most deserving of that win. She was phenomenal. If there was one person who could have stolen the spotlight from Rachel Ziegler, it was Ariana DeBose. They were both phenomenal, and they're both owning that movie the entire time they were on screen. Best Original Screenplay. I'm glad Belfast won something. Being my second favorite movie of the year, I'm glad it won. I could have seen this going anywhere. I didn't think Licorice Pizza deserved to be in there. People called out the racist jokes as being like really insensitive, and yes, they are. The point of the racist joke in the movie is to showcase the character for being racist, but I don't think it really does anything for the movie, and it stops it still. Like, it's a noticeable stoppage in the pacing of the movie, and I think that joke alone should have gotten your screenplay out of contention, not for its offensiveness, because human beings are offensive. Displaying offensive people in a movie is a thing that happens. It's realistic. He's offensive in the movie as a character, but he's also just incredibly, like, he stalls the movie with the offensive jokes. Best Adapted Screenplay went to Coda. I think Dune or Drive My Car would have been really great to see. I had thought that Lost Daughter was going to win that one, and it didn't. Best Animated Feature Film went to Encanto. I liked all 5 of these. The only one I really liked was Encanto, so I'm okay with that one winning. I thought these were all pretty good movies. My vote would have been for Encanto, so I'm glad it won. Best International Feature Film. I actually think I liked The Worst Person in the World more than Drive My Car. Drive My Car I need to see again, though. It's a movie that's so meditative that I need to sit in it for a little bit. I think Criterion Collection is going to release both of those in June. I'll probably do a double feature of those because I really liked both of them, but my money would have been on The Worst Person in the World to win if I was voting, but Drive My Car was going to win. There was no way it was getting around that. Best Documentary Feature, I know I mentioned it. I would have voted for Attica. I thought Attica was a very powerful documentary. Had I been able to nominate, I would have nominated the Sparks Brothers documentary. But Summer of Soul was really good as well. It's a feat in editing because he had just thousands of hours of footage to look through to craft it, and then find and interview all these people, which would have been a lot of work. So very deserving. Best Documentary Short Subject, The Queen of Basketball won. That was the first short film I watched after the Oscars were announced. I found it on YouTube, and it's the best one of those 5 easily, and I'm so happy it won. Best Live Action Short went to The Long Goodbye. My mind, I would have put it on Alopecia, Take and Run, or On My Mind. Those are the two I enjoyed the most. Take and Run I watched on the treadmill before the Oscars on Sunday. It's about 40 minutes long, and it is one of the most tense experiences. I couldn't tell if I was sweating from the workout or sweating from watching the short. It was so tense. It was a phenomenal short film and easily one of the best shorts I've seen in a long time. On My Mind was maybe a little too sweet, a little too lifetimey, but I thought it was a very sweet and tender short film that really worked for me. Best animated short, the Windshield Wiper one. I would have put my money on Bestia, just as personally. I don't think the subject matter of Bestia works. Again, as a guy who doesn't know much about the subject matter, I did do a lot of research after the fact. I don't know if I should have had to. I think it should have been made clear in your movie who you were like being about, but I get that it also is a foreign documentary, or a foreign short film, so I get that why it's not geared toward me, but Bestia was the best animated movie of the group. And I thought Robin would win. I wasn't all that impressed with the five altogether, though. I was like, they're okay. Box Battle was also, it's okay. Best original score, I actively didn't like the Don't Look Up score from Nicholas Britell, and I love Nicholas Britell. I think he's great. I just didn't like that score, so I'm surprised it got up. Dune won, and I'm perfectly happy seeing Dune won. I thought it was the best score of the five. Again, No Time to Die winning Best Original Song, totally worth it. Best Sound had to go to Dune. There's no way you could have done that. The sound creation and utilization in that film is great. Best Production Design went to Dune. I thought maybe Nightmare Alley would hold that out because that carnival is really cool in the movie. Best Cinematography, Greg Fraser won for Dune. It probably didn't hurt that he's got the #1 movie in America as a cinematographer with The Batman. Both movies are great cinematography and very well deserved. Best Makeup and Hair, I would have gone with Dune purely for Baron Harkonnen. I thought that was a feat of makeup effects. And I guarantee you next year the Batman's going to be up for that, and I think it deserves to win that. But went to Eyes of Tammy Faye, which the makeup in that is intentionally over the top because that's the realism of it. So it's hard for me to kind of really place it. But yeah, it's good makeup. It's good makeup. Best Costume Design went to Cruella. If you hadn't given that to Cruella, it would have been a slap in the face. Not just because the costume design is really great in Cruella, but it's a movie about costume design. So if you hadn't given it a Best Costume Design award, that would have been like a searing edict on the movie's quality. And the movie is good. It's not great, but it's really way too long. But very deserving of the win for Best Costume Design. Best Film Editing went to Dune. Of the five, I think it was worthy. I think there was some editing choices. The movie's a little too long, but I totally fine with it. Best Visual Effects went to Dune. I think I would have been torn between Dune and Shang-Chi, which was my favorite movie of last year, but I get it. Dune had better CG than that. I absolutely agree. Sam Jackson won an honorary Oscar award for a cultural icon whose dynamic work has resonated across genres and generations and audiences worldwide. More power to you. He's been acting for so long, he deserves to have a career best Oscar because he just hasn't gotten that chance to get the win. Elaine May won for her bold, uncompromising approach to filmmaking as a writer, director, and actress. She's been working for so long that I get it. Liv Ullmann's bravery and emotional transparency has gifted audiences with deeply affecting screen portrayals. Yeah, she got, of course, she was in Persona, Cries and Whispers, Scenes from a Marriage, The Passion of Anna, and Autumn Sonata. A lot of work from Liv Ullmann. So again, deserving of that career award. Danny Glover won the Humanitarian Jean Hersholt Award for his decades-long advocacy for justice and human rights. Reflects his dedication to recognizing our shared humanity on and off the screen. I love Danny Glover. I'm so happy he got an award for this. I think the one sad part about seeing Danny Glover go up on that stage when I watched the footage from it is realizing that we're definitely not getting Lethal Weapon 5. He's just not in the physical shape to do it. I would like to see him as the captain, take over the captain role in that movie, sure. But I don't think there's any way we're seeing an action scene with Danny Glover in that movie. But you know what? If they make it, I'll go see it because I love those movies. Anywho, guys, I just wanted to kind of riff for a while and talk about my thoughts about the show. Maybe I went too long. If you're still here at the end, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe. There are 2 free things that you can do that can help support the channel here and help me out. And thanks for watching as well. Let me know your thoughts on the different things I talked about down below in the comment section. I'm sure we're going to be talking about this for a long time, guys. It's a weird Oscar show. I didn't hate it as much as I thought. There was a lot of changes that were made that I thought were disappointing and that ended up kind of, again, making the show too long. But there are ways they can tweak it and make it and fix it. There's still ways to fix the Oscars. I know there is, and I've given you a few. So go ahead and let me know your thoughts about how to fix the Oscars for next year, and we'll see you later.